Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the last matchup tonight, this Wednesday, because the holiday's throwing me off, Wednesday evening. Div B West, two teams at the top of the standings, Roll1 Esports at 8-2, Make 7 Up Yours at 8-4. Joining me is a Div B West alumnus who has graduated onto Division A, Captain of Divine 9, Jason. How's it going?
That's going pretty good. You know, having a nice, relaxing evening and looking forward to this nightcap, which should be a pretty good matchup between these two teams. Still, you know, only about halfway through the season, so we haven't quite seen everybody maybe reach their final form just yet. But still, these two teams are performing so well in this first half so far. Like you said, number 2 and number 4 in the standings. Looking forward to seeing what these teams have for us tonight.
Yeah, and we'll touch bases a bit on it during the draft between these two teams. They kind of got to Div B West slightly different paths. Roll1 Esports, as we get this show on the road. And actually gonna put this stuff off. There's no. And there we go. All right. Roll1 Esports was here in Div B West last season. First ban Asmo by Roll1 Esports. And I think they were kind of the last team that didn't get bumped up. I know some of us were surprised that they didn't, but I think they were probably the highest team that wasn't bumped up to Div A. And Make 7 Up Yours, actually the Division C champions named, they bumped up from Div C last season, changed their name. I forgot what their name was off the top of my head last season, but they didn't win Div C. And both teams kind of picking up where they left off last season and carrying on with their winning ways.
Yeah, Roll1 Esports definitely one of the stronger teams in B West last season. So, yeah, I would definitely put myself in that group of people that are a little surprised that they didn't move up. But, you know, still performing very well here in B West this season, as you mentioned. And Make 7 Up Yours. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys respond in this higher division. But, you know, the lines move a little bit, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell. But we're getting into the draft here and already seeing some pretty meta bans. And the Blaze to start off, which is going to be really strong in that solo lane. Good sustain on the Shrine as well. And kind of, you see this massive isolation of the solo laners in this first ban phase. So they're going to go ahead and pick up their pick of the litter to make sure they get a good one.
Yeah, I really like the first pick Blaze simply because Leo was banned, Urel was banned, Mouth was banned, so solo laners running on short supply. Dahaka not really viable on Volskaya as much as he is on most maps, just because of the lack of bushes for him to brush stalk into. Make 7 Up Yours responding with probably the best healer, with maybe difference to Whitemane and Deckard Cain and damage and Raynor. And then the Roll1 special, Garrosh Blaze is their front line du jour. I'm a little bit surprised the division hasn't picked up the Garrosh ban against Roll1, Jason.
Yeah, the CC chain is real, even off the at toss, and this is something that Roll1 does very well, is the Garrosh combination of abilities. The toss into that groundbreaker, and then the Jaina follow-up. They straight up delete people. And so right now, right out the gates, Make 7 Up Yours, gonna have to be very careful about who they draft, how vulnerable they are in terms of getting that combo hit on them, and what kind of response they have to it.
Yeah, Garrosh kind of fell out of the tank meta a little bit. Last season he was top, and now just with kind of the damage meta shifting, he has sometimes some trouble getting in for those tosses, which is kind of why I like the Jaina pickup with him, because Jaina is one of the mages that can kind of just keep that slow on him, and it really makes it tough to get in there on him. So Garrosh pairs well with Jaina, and then by taking her away, it's a little bit of a soft ban, making the Garrosh his player life much easier. Solo lane choke continues with Sonya banned and then a Kael'thas Johanna selected by the side of Make 7 Up Yours. I'm very curious what they're going to do with the solo lane. Do you go with something like a triple backline and draft a Phoenix to take your solo?
Definitely an option, but I do like that they waited. You know, they have a few different options they can go with still in the solo. Something like a Thrall might be an option for them. Even going to a gray main, but the steal here, Phoenix is going to be picked up even further, choking the solo lane options. And the Alexstrasza is going to be the healer. So of all the healers left, I think Alexstrasza was the best matchup to try and put up against the Deckard. Also, the Dragon Queen should be enough in most situations to secure you those early objectives. And holy cow, Make 7 Up Yours just going straight in with the full tank front line. And I love this call. How do you counter a Garrosh? You just make sure that nobody's in range of him that you don't mind being thrown. You throw Johanna, she just laughs and walks away like Diablo's dragging her in the Carbot video. And then Nubarak just has his burrow out. So as long as none of your squishies get caught in it, you're not too worried. And even if they do, you have this strong front line to come in and try to protect him from that.
And not only that, the Cocoon to counteract the Dragon Queen as well is if you target out that Dragon Queen, you can kind of just take that out of the equation a little bit. So I kind of like their call just to forego the traditional solo laner and go with an Anub instead. So who won the draft, Jason? Who gets your tip of the cap?
I'm going to give it to Roll1 Esports. I feel like it's because they were driving the car in this draft, and Make 7 Up Yours was just kind of in the passenger seat, trying to respond, trying to get what they could out of the situation. But at the end of the day, they get the Garrosh combo they want. They get really strong picks in the range department to back that up, and they kind of forced Make 7 Up Yours to make kind of a non-meta draft that who knows if they wanted it, but force them to respond. So I think that gives them the upper hand going into this.
All right, so the blue team here, Roll1 Esports. We have Rock Your World on Garrosh, Zad on Blaze, Velvet on Phoenix, Big Beard on Jaina, and Tofts on Alexstrasza.
And on the right, Make 7 Up Yours. We've got a Cash playing the Kael'thas. Punk Panda on the Deckard. We've got Prudentius on the Johanna. Sukiyaki on the Raynor, and Tribulation on the Anubarak.
I'm pretty sure Sukiyaki is correct.
Okay. Suki it is. So we're going to go with that for the rest of the series. Right out the gate. We do have a 4v5 in the mid. They're going to send a Nubarak directly to the bot. Make 7 Up Yours, knowing that they probably don't want the early team fight. They don't really want to mess around with this Garrosh and get too far in. So they're just going to go ahead and split out, get the soak, and try to get a little bit of an XP lead. But Zad coming down to the bottom lane, going to respond to that very quickly on the Blaze.
Yeah, if you're the side of Make 7 Up Yours here, Anubarak is fine in the solo lane. You just basically acknowledge he's going to lose it. You stay safe, you soak, you don't waste a bunch of resources into battling Blaze over it. You just kind of know your limitations with the draft that you picked out, because Anubarak shouldn't die down there by any stretch of the imagination. He just is going to get cleared and pushed back.
No, he should fare pretty well. He's got his beetles to help him with the wave clear a little bit. And long gone are the days when you get punished for having a weak solo laner in the early game. Back when the towers would run out of ammo, you could get a lot more value out of having the better wave clear, having the stronger lane push. But nowadays, when the cannons are just constantly firing, you're lucky to get just a little bit of damage on the wall, even if you have a heavily dominant solo lane.
Yeah, and even on the maps where the winning a solo lane can be really valuable, this kind of isn't one of them anyway.
Right, but we do see a very early contesting here of the heal camp. We will see a Nubarak coming up here. Blaze is still in the bot lane, so huge responsive rotation here from Make 7 Up yours. They'll end up with first blood, taking out the Phoenix. They even dropped the turret just to make sure they got the advantage here. But we will see them able to pick that up and get themselves an early heal camp.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Roll1 didn't kind of see that rotation coming. They knew a noob wasn't there. Great burrow in by a Nubarak to secure the kill. However, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, and actually, they lost their... So, I was thinking that they used their turret, which they did, but they picked up the turret from Roll1. So, actually, 2 items from Make 7 Up yours. As I was just figuring out...
They must have stolen it.
Yeah, I was just thinking 1 for 1, but not the case. It's actually 2 for nothing. And Make 7 Up yours playing the map better right now, as well as they are able to not only secure those top bruisers, but actually get here in time to contest early. Burrow charge doesn't miss. The Impaling Blades, it does hit. Jaina and Phoenix will rotate to the top lane to take care of those Merc camps. And Make 7 Up yours will begin the long, arduous trek to 100%.
Yeah, it would appear as though Velvet did capture the camp, but I think somebody might have stolen it over on that fortification camp on the left. But either way, I think right now the members of Roll1 are playing more for the level 7. They're looking to see if they can get some kind of advantage there. But if not, they may be comfortable just giving up this first objective altogether. We are going to see Zad getting poked down, having to pop his trait just to get back to the wall there. But now the top camp has been cleared up. The members of Roll1 even capturing their own camp, and now they're going to be taking a look back at this control point.
Dragon Queen is popped. Garrosh taking a lot of damage, and the Living Bomb Spread actually is going to catch 2 members there. Make 7 Up yours really burrowing, burrowing in here, but now they're backing up and waiting for the Dragon Queen to go down. They did use the Biotic Emitter, but not the turret yet. A really smart move on their part to wait out that Dragon Queen. Garrosh in trouble, and down he goes. That's going to absolutely give the first Triglav Protector over to Make 7 Up yours, and they didn't even need to use the turret. They could actually save that for this next objective here.
Yeah, Roll1 smartly going to go ahead and jump on their own turret before all of these camps despawn from the Punisher coming out. But you mentioned it. Huge advantage now for Make 7 Up yours. Advantage goes to the team who gets that charge early. They knew they could tap and re-engage. Great execution on that team fighting in the stun chain to be able to isolate out Garrosh. And once Garrosh was down, that was easy Punisher here for Make 7 Up yours.
Yeah, I mean, they were so far ahead, and Roll1 had to... Normally, you like to use the Dragon Queen to actually secure the completion of the objective, but they were so far behind, they actually had to use it early just to kind of reposition themselves to contest it at all.
Meanwhile, Toss comes in onto Johanna, but again, Iron Skin gets popped, no Groundbreaker follow-up, and right now they're just kind of walking through this. They've got Suki on the backside here, just throwing down the damage, but meanwhile, they do have Kael'thas Kael'thas getting the kill onto the Phoenix, so that's going to be another nice pick here for Make 7 Up yours. They get some solid damage on the top fort, but even more importantly, they get that top well down so that tap will not be available for Roll1 Esports on the next objective phase.
Now, while that was going on, Blaze was actually able to double soak the lane, so despite the 3-0 kill advantage and the structure advantage, the experience difference between these two teams kind of not as much as you think it would be. About a half a level to 2/3 of a level here for Make 7 Up yours.
Yeah, small little things that'll get you that XP can be very helpful. Like they capped the camp, even though they didn't get the item, they still get the XP from capping the camp. But we will see Rock Your World getting very low here. Again, Garrosh just being powered down by Suki on the other side on that Rainer. Meanwhile, Stay a While and Listen is going to come out as the level 10s are down. Blaze is going to fall, and they are looking for more here as Top's trying to retreat. Does end up getting a nice positioning on that circle of healing and will make it out, but it's a 2-for-0 exchange in favor of Make 7 Up yours, making as much as they can off of those heroic, after that heroic advantage.
Yeah, I understand what Roll1 was trying to do there. They kind of called the aggressive invade. They were hoping to catch them before those level 10s could come online. But Garrosh was definitely a little bit ahead of his team. And to top it off, the backliners actually got caught in a 4-man scroll of ceiling there, and they really delayed their arrival. And once that happened, the level 10s came online. Garrosh was able to be killed because he was a little too far from his team there, and Make 7 Up Here is taking a full level lead here going into the second objective, and they will also have the Sippy Fountain advantage as well.
Yeah, Deckard, one of the reasons he's really the top support right now in the meta is because of the control that he offers. So much CC, so much zoning potential. Meanwhile, Zab being caught out here, gonna be forced to pop the bunker, but he's still being slowed on his way out. The stun comes down, and it is going to be a kill, but they get the counter onto a Nubarak. Cleansing Flame actually coming out. I'm a little surprised here. Tops electing to not go for that Lifebinder, but that was, I believe, a part of the recent patch adjustment. But we'll have to see as what Alex Straza players want to go with moving forward. But a Lifebinder still may be an option for the isolative kills that we've seen, especially on the Garrosh. But instead they're going to go with that Cleansing Flame.
Yeah, I didn't actually think the changes to Lifebinder. I actually remember reading them and kind of scoffing. I was like, yeah, like that's going to change anything. So I'm a little bit kind of surprised to see Cleansing Flame too. And it's not that Cleansing Flame is bad. It's just that Lifebinder is so good.
Yeah, exactly.
So we
especially, you know, with the percentage damage that you see, or I should say the percentage armor from Rock Your World on that Garrosh. But either way, a little bit of a counter also I didn't mention earlier. Kalphos's style of damage versus the style of healing from Alex Straza. They're going to be countered a little bit on that. But right now, they do have the good positioning, but I think this is just Make 7 Up Years waiting for 13 to come in. We'll have to see. They do have one heroic down, but Cleansing Flame also down on the other side. And you can see it. The members of Roll1 Esports not real aggressive to stay on this. As 13 comes in, they'll rotate away. And this is Amateur Hots, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's actually really clean play. You have Make 7 Up Yours, got the 13, waited. And as soon as they were online with it, Roll1 rotated away to try to get their own 13. We do have the Cocoon coming out on the Alex, so this is going to be a hard engaged 2-man Warlords challenge. Purification Salvo, Ring of Frost. This is a bloodbath. 2 members going down for Roll1, 2 members going down for Make 7 Up Yours. Make it 3 apiece. Blaze and Jaina left, but Jaina is gone, as is Zad. So that's going to be a 5-4-3. Fireworks going off there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we do have huge team fight. One thing I got to call out, item usage. Definitely in favor of Make 7 Up Yours. They dropped those turrets early and often. Meanwhile, Roll1 Esports holding on to them a little bit too long. And I think it cost them dearly there. They had so many heroes that were close to dying. Just that little extra damage from the turrets might have been enough to turn that in their favor. But this is going to be huge. Now, they did get 68%, did Roll1 Esports, but it's going to be tough for them to take this back. Though they do have the 13 advantage, but they do not have the heroic advantage, and they definitely don't have the item advantage at this point.
Yeah, really nice play there by Make 7 Up Yours. They used that time to go get another turret, so now they have the Biotic Emitter and the turret. So much on Volskaya Foundry. The difference in a close game can be whichever team maximizes the use of those items, and so far it has definitely been Make 7 Up Yours.
Interesting call as Rock Your World tosses a Nubarak right into the back line here, and Phoenix is going to end up paying for it as there's a ton of pressure coming down. The web wrap goes down onto Jaina, and they're just trying to push past as Rock Your World. Overtime is going to be lost here, and Make 7 Up Yours is going to get themselves a second Punisher as the members of Roll1 Esports are on the run.
Oh, if Alex didn't fall there, Rock Your World actually had a nice play and retreat there. He almost saved himself and Alex by proccing his Unstoppable and into the fraying Alex to safety, but she ended up getting caught out here. We actually haven't really had a chance to talk about heroics yet, so let's go ahead and do that while Make 7 Up Yours is enjoying their second Rock'em Sock'em robot of the game. Warlord's challenge for Garrosh, Call Bunker, or Bunker Drop? What's the official name of that? Bunker Drop for Blaze, Purification Salvo for Phoenix, Cleansing Flame for Alexstrasza, and Ring of Frost for the Jaina.
Over on the side of Make 7 Up Yours, they went with the standard Phoenix, Stay a While and Listen, Blessed Shield, Rainer's Raiders, and the Cocoon.
Now we do have Recyclic in chat, the support extraordinaire for Regen Red, and he said Anubarak Rex Lifebinder, and he would have gone with Cleansing Flame as well. So, good perspective.
That's fair.
Now, 16 advantage for Make 7 Up Yours, and they are utilizing it as much as possible. They know Phoenix is in the top lane, getting as much soak as he can, but this is going to be the last outer fort for Roll1 going down, and they are in a bit of trouble here, Jason.
Yeah, they do have the fort down. They're going to have to try to leave. They don't have 16, but the bunker is not going to be enough to help them really disengage. The Cleansing Flame, though, may be enough, but we'll get them out safely. So that's going to be a couple of big heroics popped here for Roll1 Esports right before they get the 16 advantage. So it's going to be a while now before they're going to have a real opportunity to fight Make 7 Up Yours mano a mano. And they know that. They're going to go ahead and rotate in, steal another camp, and just the raw item control that we've seen so far from Make 7 Up Yours, that's got to be one of the biggest reasons that they're winning this match right now. They are in total control, and they're going to continue grabbing those items and just kind of trying to stretch this lead as much as they can.
Yeah, the combination of the not only superior item control, but utilizing those items better as well.
Yep.
Also, they've been a little better about focusing their damage. It seems like Roll1 is a little bit scattered in their engagements, not quite on the same page, but Roll1 being aggressive. They're trying to catch them pre-20. Blaze does go in, throws down the barbecue, and the jet propulsion does not catch anybody, and now Make 7 Up Yours is coming on the re-engage. Anubarak is going to come in for a big flank, might be going to catch Jaina, catches Garrosh, he is able to proc his unstoppable. Living Bomb is on him though. Jaina's in trouble, actually gets the Living Bomb passed to him from Garrosh. Alexstrasza the first to go. Stay a While and Listen catches 2 with story time. Jaina ice blocks her way to safety. She will probably live if she runs now, but not the case for Phoenix, Garrosh, and Alexstrasza. 3-0 as Make 7 Up Yours in complete control of Game 1, and now they will move into lay siege to this bottom key.
Tribulation on the burrow, triple stun after that, just completely shutting down anything Roll1 Esports wanted to do in that engagement. Cleansing Flame was still down, so they knew they had the advantage. They had the items in their pockets if they needed them, but they didn't even need to drop anything to win that team fight handily. And now they're going to be able to reap the benefits of that big team fight win, getting down the first keep of the game and opening up their first win condition, should they be able to get this control point, which pops on perfect cue.
Yeah, Roll1 Esports is in trouble, Jason. They're not going to have 20. 4 items on the board for Make 7 Up Yours. They're going to be down a talent tier. They're going to be down a whole lot of items, and they see that they might have caught Phoenix there. The Blizzard goes down. If they can get a Kosh here, that would be huge. A great unstoppable coming out from Blaze, but they do not catch Kael'thas, or they do less than 100 hit points, but he gets away. Anubarak not so lucky. Jet Propulsion lands onto Johanna, but the low health bars of Make 7 Up Yours are forcing them to withdraw, but the Living Bomb, they passed it amongst themselves and absolutely wrecked. A triple Living Bomb pass, Jason, spells the end of Game 1 here.
Sorry, I'm writing down something in case of interview here. Was that bait on purpose? Okay, so Cash getting caught out in the mid. However, the incredible response from Make 7 Up Yours, they collapsed in. They stopped the members of Roll1 from fully being able to get back to finish off the kill on a kill. They had opened up the win condition. If there was any major team fight the whole rest of the match, that they had won. It was going to be game over, and that is it. Game number 1 going decisively over to Make 7 Up Yours.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great response by Make 7 Up Yours, and don't take this that way, but Roll1 actually kind of wrecked themselves with their positioning. They could have taken that Anu pick and walked away, and they were walking away, but in the process of withdrawing, one member passed Living Bomb to 3 others, and all of them died. If that initial passing of the Living Bomb didn't go down, I think they get away with the pick clean and maybe make something out of it. I know they were really low, and Make 7 Up Yours was pretty healthy, but they were in the process of withdrawing. It would have been a close thing, but once that bomb was passed, that was that.
It's one of the most difficult things in Heroes of the Storm is trying to play from behind. You start to get a little bit desperate for any opportunity to make something happen and try and make a comeback. And I think that's what we saw here from Roll1 Esports. They saw Kael'thas just a little bit out of position, probably not out of position enough to warrant the massive amount of dive and commitment that Roll1 Esports was willing to try and do there to get something going. But because they weren't quite able to execute that, it's like you said, they kind of wrecked themselves. They got wrecked in response, at the very least, from a very nice answer from Make 7 Up Yours. And that's the story of Game 1. They were able to coordinate just a little bit better than Roll1, able to execute a little bit better. But I do think these two teams have pretty similar play levels and are matched pretty well here. And so I'll be looking forward to seeing if Roll1 has an answer here in game number 2.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see those adjustments between the two teams between games. Going back to that Kael'thas, I don't know how you guys do it, but when there's a Kael'thas on the other team, you're hearing a lot of people saying bomb, 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 bomb on my team because we want to make absolutely sure we don't pass that thing around because it is such a big deal.
Yeah, definitely one of the toughest things to deal with because it's so much about positioning relative to other people, and coordinating which direction you walk in is something that a lot of even NGS teams don't have developed beforehand. You know, setting up a system for when in doubt, you go this way, I go that way. Stuff like that is little things that you can adjust and get that team synergy over time. But it's a very difficult thing to develop, and it's just so niche. You don't need to do it a lot of the time. But yeah, it's that kind of coordination that can make or break seasons, really, here at NGS.
Yeah, and that's the case because, I mean, it was the case in Div B West last season. Looking at the standings, I think it's going to be the case this season, is that all these divisions are pretty close, and one win here, one win there can really make the difference, especially if you're in the middle. Like, that one game is probably not going to cost Roll1 their top 6 position, but if you're one of those teams caught in that glut of teams in the middle that all of these divisions seem to have, one game can 100% make the difference between securing that wild card spot or being banished to the wild card weekend that's now a part of our league.
Yeah, that 50% win rate seems to be the line that you don't want to cross.
Right.
And, you know, these teams are a little bit above that, but, you know, one domination or being, you know, one full loss away from being there a lot of the time when you're right on this cusp. So, I don't know. We'll see if they can make the adjustments. We've got Towers of Doom going to be our map number 2, so it should be pretty interesting to see. Because this is a pretty different map.
For sure.
From Volskaya, Infernal Shrines, those kind of things. Definitely a very unique map here in Heroes of the Storm. Requires a different skill set.
And worth noting, Volskaya Foundry was Make 7 Up Yours choice of map, and this is Roll1's choice of map. So give us a little peek under the hood, Jason. After a game like that, what kinds of things go on in Divine 9 comms? What do you guys say to each other after something like that?
You know, we try to make some communications about what we think went wrong and what adjustments we can make. But losing and making those adjustments can always be one of the hardest things to deal with mid. It's about staying upbeat, knowing that you have the tools and you have the ability to come back and win in the next game, and you just got to get back to it and kind of pretend that last game never happened.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier when you can just say, you know what, X hero crushed us, so that's
Right.
the adjustment. But I don't think there was that one hero from the side of Make 7 Up Yours that was the issue. It was really the overall coordination within the team fighting combined with far superior item management and usage in that game one. However, no items on towers.
Right, so that won't be quite as big a factor. However, rotation synergy, camp captures with these sappers can still be a very big factor. And so overall, they may want to look to adjust the way that they're playing their macro and try to respond a little bit more to how Make 7 Up Yours is handling their macro in game number 2. But you're right. Give me a draft issue to fix. That's easy. But when you feel like you got outplayed in the macro or in the micro,
Or
that's
both.
something, or both. That's something that's very hard to adjust to and swallow going into game 2.
And we've all had these games too, because
Oh yeah.
Sometimes too you can just chalk it up to, well, we didn't play very well, and we know we're capable of playing better. You and I both know Roll1, that was not one of their stronger games there. Much more capable than what was on display there. So sometimes you just kind of throw that game out. Yeah, and just kind of be like, all right, guys, I don't know. Somebody go grab a couple beers. Let's sauce this thing up and get going for game 2. Yrel being banned out by Make 7 Up Yours. The Asmo ban continues here in Nexus Gaming Series by Roll1 Esports.
Yeah, 2018 HOTS. We got Asmo bans coming in by the truckload. Yrel also pretty commonly subject for ban in our series and across Heroes of the Storm as well. She's been incredibly strong ever since she came out. But once again, we're going to see a little bit of a target on the solo laners, kind of reducing those options a little bit. And that paid off in the first game. We'll see if it happens again here in the second game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. Did Whitemane make it through that entire draft game 1, or was she banned?
I believe she made it all the way through.
I'm not seeing a lot of that either. There's probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 heroes, I would say, that are consistently banned somewhere in the top 4. The 4 that we see here, Whitemane as well. Sometimes you see Dahaka, who was first picked by Make 7 Up Yours and is so good on Towers of Doom, but we have a response of Deckard Malthael. Malthael will definitely defeat Dahaka in lane, and with On a Pale Horse is capable of rotating between 2 lanes if Roll1 Esports wants to utilize that heavy focus into the bottom lane strategy that is sometimes very prevalent here on Towers.
Well, you mentioned Whitemane. Here she comes into game number 2, and it's going to be paired with the Diablo, so a very forward-heavy team. So not only in the front line, but Whitemane also likes to be moving forward. The more damage she's able to put out, the more healing she can also have going in response to that. So strong front line, and now they just need a couple of damage dealers over on the side of Make 7 Up Yours to round out this comp.
So Genji banned out by Roll1. I would guess a tank ban, but possibly, I suppose, could be a damage ban. The reason I don't think it'll be a damage is there's so many damage dealers still on the board. You can kind of choke the tanks out just a little bit more than you can.
How do you choke out
damage?
damage?
Right, yeah. I mean, unless there's one specific that you're worried about, like I suppose Phoenix, who is very solid right now. 2 selections here from Roll1. I would like to see their tank and their primary damage, and then just leave that last spot open to respond to either what Make 7 Up Yours does, or maybe kind of a little niche pocket pick, something to kind of throw the opposition off. And instead they go Leeming Tychus, leaving the tank to last, and not just Tychus, but Banana Hammock Tychus, who is more OP than regular Tychus.
Definitely more intimidating, no doubt about that. But we are going to see the goal here is the reset comp. This used to be used sometimes with Greymane, where you would see them go Cursed Bullet into the last rites to try to get the Li-Ming reset. But now we're going to see just Tychus just being able to target down one, and then Malthael trying to follow it up along with that Li-Ming damage. It also pairs well with the Deckard and the control that he gives in the CC. But Zeratul Jaina coming out. Does somebody smell a Wombo combo?
Yeah, going OG here with what I assume will be VP, APOC, Ring of Frost. You could also, I suppose, do Lightning Breath in there as well, should you want to. But traditionally, when you see those three together, it is Void, Prison, Ring of Frost, Apocalypse, Death.
Yeah, very interesting drafts coming out here. And so for the side of Make 7 Up Yours, it's all based on execution. How well does Zeratul get in and get those VPs? And in response, how good is Roll1 Esports at countering those? There's really only one big interrupt potential for Zeratul getting interrupted on the Void Prism cancel, which is kind of your main strategy for countering that, is trying to stop that synergy between Jaina and Zeratul. And that's only if Johanna doesn't get caught, who's usually going to be in it. She can interrupt it, but everybody else is going to struggle to try and do that. Except, actually, I take it back. Deckard Sleep can do it. So we'll see if they do try to use that over on the side of Roll1 Esports, if that is the combo that comes out here.
So an interesting little wrinkle here from Make 7 Up Yours. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's go ahead and introduce our two teams, and then I'll talk about the wrinkle here for Make 7 Up Yours. So the red team, Make 7 Up Yours winners of Game 1. Team Captain Akash on Zeratul, Funk Panda on Whitemane, Sukiyaki on Jaina, Tribulation on Diablo, and Prudentius on Dahaka.
And on the left, Roll1 Esports, we've got Velvet on the Li-Ming Toffs. Going to be playing the Deckard. Rock Your World going to be on the Johanna. Big Beard on the Tychus. And we're going to have Zad playing the Malthael.
Well, welcome to our new viewers, and thanks to Cody Kraz for the raid. You guys are joining us for a Div B West matchup. Two of the top four teams in Div B West. Roll1 Esports, the blue team, hoping to bounce back from their Game 1 loss. And Make 7 Up Yours, the red team, hoping to secure the domination here in Game 2. A little behind the scenes here action going into these games. Our viewers got to see those sweet intro towers that cartography gives us access to. It's a little hard to set up without a producer, so I DM both team captains and I ask them who's going to be playing the game and what role they're going to be playing, so I can set it up ahead of time, and it allows me to do that in a solo or duo cast. Well, Make 7 Up Yours, if you look at the players that played in Game 1, they don't have assigned roles, Jason. They just move on to whoever can play whatever. And you don't see a lot of teams doing that. What are your thoughts on maybe the strengths and weaknesses of that, as Dahaka actually gets destroyed 1v1 top lane? Malthael picking up the kill despite Zeratul reinforcing in the top lane.
Cash getting a little bit spooked there as Velvet was coming up. But to answer your question, there are definitely some benefits and drawbacks to that. I don't know about you, but for me and for a lot of people that I know, they play a lot of Hero League, which means you have to have a fairly flexible,
correct,
hero pool to be able to do that. You got to be able to play every role, a lot of different heroes in that role, and sometimes it can be better for your draft flexibility to be able to just say, hey, who's the best Jaina player? And there may be 2 or 3 answers to that are really good Jaina players, but being able to switch that around a little bit means that you might be able to come up with some really different strategies or play a bunch of different types of comps to try and counter your opponents. One of the main drawbacks, though, is that when you play similar roles, you get used to each person having a certain job and fulfilling that certain role. So you can get a decent amount of synergy off of that, which is why the pros do it that way. But at this level, I almost think that that's not as big a factor. I think that synergy helps, but you have to spend just countless amount of hours to really develop that synergy. So I think that if there was any place where this could be viable, it could be, kind of in these A, B, C kind of area where you have players that are really good and do have really maybe enough time to really develop that heavy synergy.
Well, I missed it, but Akash actually picked off Malthael in the top lane. I was watching this little 3v3 skirmish in the bottom. Dahaka is burrowing down. Diablo might be in trouble as Big Beard is just going to town with that minigun. Water Balloon not able to finish him off, and now Roll1 is in retreat as the reinforcements have arrived from Make 7 Up Yours. Leeming is rotating down, and with a low Prudentius and Diablo, all she's going to need is one reset. So close, but not quite. Drag goes out on the Johanna. Then comes out. Dahaka falls, and that will allow Roll1 to secure this tribute. 2-1 in the tribute phase here in the early game.
So Velvet up in the top lane, by the way, getting a full damage combo onto Akash after he got that pick. Left him at about 1 HP while all that was going on the bottom lane. So that's what allowed them to secure their own top shrine so quickly, allowing Velvet to rotate down quicker than Akash, and really giving Roll1 that rotational advantage there.
Yeah, and I agree with pretty much, we're going to go back to our little talk here about assigned roles or kind of flexing into what's available, as Johanna here being pretty aggressive with the positioning, does able to pop Iron Skin, but now that's not available. Roll1 backing up out of the camp here. It certainly increases the hero pool of your team. It allows you to be very flexible in draft, because chances are, if you have 5 players who have somewhat of a viable hero league pool, you're going to have a huge portion of the heroes in the game available for you to pick. Maybe not all of them. Yeah, maybe all of them, but certainly a large percentage of them. The drawback is, and it's whatever works for each team. Clearly it's working for these guys, but it is, I would say, not the norm. Traditionally you see more assigned roles, but the drawback is it makes it, I think, and this is, I think, the biggest drawback, is it makes it harder in your practice time. Like on my squad where I tank, I knew I needed to work on Diablo. I knew I didn't need to work on Jaina or Greymane or Zeratul or anybody else.
Right.
But I do enjoy the variety here, and Make 7 Up sure showing that this is a viable threat. Deckard Cain face-checking a bush where Jaina was waiting for her, and he ate a whole lot of snow cone there for his trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, do not check the bushes as the support.
I will say this much though: if there was ever one support that probably could get away with it, it is Deckard. But I still wouldn't suggest it.
Yeah, Deckard and maybe Uther. Uther could probably do it too.
Yeah. Oh, but Zad, however, is not going to make out of this situation. Huge rotation from Make 7 Up Yours, as they are really forcing the issue on this camp. They do have a couple members low, as now everybody is up in this top lane. They will secure the camp and even up the kills 2-2, as we've got a very even game here. Just slight XP lead with a huge engagement coming in.
Yeah, both teams posturing, despite what it kind of feels a little bit like Make 7 Up Yours has the advantage, but man, you look at the scoreboard and it's not so much. This game is close as can be. And I am being a terrible observer of this game because I think I have missed 3 out of the 4 kills on the cast.
The action is kind of all over the place, buddy. I wouldn't blame you for it.
It really, really is. Traditionally, this Dragonshire is the map we have this problem on, not Towers of Doom so much.
Yeah, that little get-together in the top lane was like the first time that everybody was in the same place. But we do see that now both altars are activating in the bot lane. Level 10s are coming in slightly faster for Roll1 Esports, but Make 7 Up Yours will have this and be rotated down here in plenty of time. Dahaka, of course, able to burrow on down with that Brush Stalker.
So level 10s for Roll1 Esports. We have Last Rites, Commandeer Odin, Blessed Shield, Lornado, which has already been used, and Wave of Force. There goes that Blessed Shield. Jaina in trouble, taking the white main heal. She is finally able to walk away and at more health than she started with. There's the VP. Where is the APOC and the Ring of Frost? There it is. Catches two. And Tychus, actually I was going to say is the first to fall, but it's not. It's actually Zeratul, and Roll1 is still going. Finally, Tychus falls, and it is a 1-for-1, but all the R buttons for Make 7 Up Yours have already been pressed. However, all the mana for Roll1 Esports has been used, and that is a 2-for-1. Make it a 3-for-1 in favor of Make 7 Up Yours and Rock Your World there. A very aggressive rotation with very little mana to do much with, and now he might be in trouble. Iron Skin is available. Johanna walks away. However, Make 7 Up Yours walking away with both of those Alter Phase. That was a little bit of mana mismanagement, Jason. As that fight developed, I'm looking at Roll1 Esports, and I'm like, they have no mana.
Yeah, but also, you know, Make 7 Up Yours not quite able to hit that combo like they would like. They only got the VP on 2. The ring came out, but the damage wasn't quite there to finish off anyone. They did win, but it definitely wasn't as clean as they would have liked. And that kind of shows you maybe a little bit of the consequence of, you know, having these different roles, not quite having that synergy set up where you always know that you're going to be in charge of this, and you get that timing down in practice. Again, not speaking to these guys specifically for their practice, but just theory crafting it, that could be a reason why. We'll have to see if that continues as this matchup goes along.
Now, Jaina is in trouble. Sukiyaki is isolated on the backline. Last Rites was just a hair early, but they do get the kill. Anyway, Akash was able to be Zeratul and kind of ninja his way out of there because he was caught out as well. Nice counter kill by Roll1 Esports, and once again, this game close as can be. 4 kills to 5, 24 to 28 in core health.
Yeah, nice 8-point swing there, allowing Make 7 Up Yours to take the lead on the scoreboard, but we will see just one more altar spawning in the bot lane. I think a lot of this is going to come down to the next triple, but meanwhile, Diablo just completely melted there from Big Beard and that minigun. Dehaka going to say no thank you to being body blocked into the corner there, and I gotta say, an unfortunate ring coming in for Suki there. Not used with the combo. You know, the VP of course not anywhere around it, but trying to follow up on an overextension there, but not quite landing.
Yeah, that was definitely a defensive ring. Great juke there by Big Beard. There's the VP Ring of Frost. However, the VP wasn't canceled, so it actually didn't catch Redbeard. Deckard Cain goes down anyway. Johanna to follow. Commandeer Odin is used. However, not much value going to be had with it as 2 of his teammates are already down. And despite Diablo getting picked off with 100 souls, he came back in time to contest, and once again, Make 7 Up Yours able to take the channel.
Yeah, I got to be able to extend that lead now to 8 for the side of Make 7 Up Yours. But again, 13 to 13, 5 to 7 on the kill counter. It's so even between these two teams. A lot of it's going to come down to the late game team fights. And so far, we've seen Roll1 being a little bit more coordinated. We'll have to see as they hit these late game power spikes. The Li Ming, you know, getting what I'm sure will be the mirror ball upgrade to go with this Calamity combo. You know, seeing the Deckard heals get stronger, and Tychus constantly charging up that minigun. Actually, didn't take the minigun stacks, but still having the bigger they are to pair with the Last Rites, which now has 2 stacks. They're going to scale better unless Make 7 Up Yours just starts hitting their combo perfectly.
Yeah, I was going to finish that thought up for you. The flip side of that is with a really decisive, brutal wombo combo that Make 7 Up Yours has, if they hit a late game one with death timer so long, it could be absolutely backbreaking.
Oh, but meanwhile, speaking of backbreaking, got to be careful with the Jaina. Just trying to get the quest finished. Almost 15k on there, but stepping maybe out a little bit too far there. Did have the team around, but But right now, it looks like the members of Roll1 Esports are more interested in positioning for this triple altar phase.
Yeah, this is a big moment here for Roll1, as this is going to be the best fight they get before 16. They do have 3 members up top on their side, only Deckard and Johanna. Zeratul stalking around on the backside. Johanna and Deckard trying to get away. Iron Skin is popped and they're able to. Whitemane is channeling on the backside. I don't think they can do anything to stop her. And this is the Dahaka advantage. Even though he didn't actually use the Brush Stalker, the fact that it was available, you can just kind of threaten with it, send him up to the top right, he can get down faster. So 2 for 1 once again in favor of Make 7 Up Yours.
Interesting call there from Roll1 Esports. They send the tank and the support to the bot lane, while sending 3 members to the top left, pretty much all of their damage. So I'm not quite sure what that call was meant to accomplish. Ideally, you want to cap your own and try to contest the bot, or try and cap the top 2 and completely concede the bot. So for right now, we see them with a little bit of a disadvantage on the score counter here, but we are seeing they're going to get level 16. Like I said, they do scale well, but they're going to start running into this problem where they're going to have to force things that they might not otherwise want to, because they're behind on the actual core score.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, props to Tofts and Rock Your World with the Deckard and the Johanna. They were down here doing what they could, but they didn't force something that wasn't there and die, because that would have been really detrimental. Blessed Shield goes out onto the Whitemane, follow up by Tychus. Not there. A VP Ring of Frost only catches Tychus. Now the APOC catches 2 out of the Void Prison. Li-Ming is able to teleport away. However, 2 members of Roll1 have fallen, and they are in full retreat mode. The drag is able to land on the Malthael, and they finish him off, and that was a big moment for Make 7 Up Yours. They are sieging down this bottom fort, and will most certainly get 5 shots when they channel this altar here momentarily.
Yeah, good synergy there for that Wombo. They were able to get the picks that they were looking for, 3 kills. Now they're going to go ahead and capture the bottom bell tower, which anybody who knows anything about Heroes of the Storm will tell you that Towers of Doom, you want that bottom bell tower more than anything else on the map. Gives you full control. 5 points now going to go over. 7 going to be left. Unless Roll1 Esports can force this in. They do also have the option of doing the split game, where they can try and cap this and then go force boss. Pretty much all the options in the world here for Make 7 Up Yours.
Yeah, the VP APOC Ring of Frosts haven't been great, but they haven't been terrible either. They've been just good enough to accomplish what they need to get done. If they really lock in one fantastic one, it'll spell the end of this game real quick. Make 7 Up Yours now leveraging this into boss, and that will open up all kinds of win conditions for them. Fortunately for Roll1, the next altar spawn is a single altar spawn, which is what they need.
Yeah, and that's a really good break for them, because they're going to be very close to level 20. It's going to give them the option to concede it if they want to, or if it just doesn't look like it's a good, if it's a good look, if they maybe miss their combo and they don't want to go in on it. They don't lose too much from conceding just that one altar at this phase in the game. They've got all the time in the world to get those last 3 points secured. So for right now, Make 7 Up Yours. They just got to keep playing the game clean and not give Roll1 Esports the opportunity to try and come back in this one.
It was a small thing, but I loved that little interaction there as Lornado and Blessing Shield go out on Jaina. She is locked in by the Scroll of Sealing, actually dodges it with the Ice Block. VP catches 3. There's the APOC, also catches 3. Ring of Frost, and Deckard Cain is in trouble. Boy, is he a tough old man. He is still going. Finally falls. This might be the beginning of the end. Li-Ming going down as well. Akash is very low, but he should be able to hang out in the back line and stay alive. And I think that is going to do it. Akash does trade out for a full ace. Make 7 Up Yours, picking up the domination here over Roll1 Esports. What I started to say there, as those two teams were posturing, it was actually pretty fun to watch as they both didn't know where the other was, and they were both checking the bushes, throwing things in there, and they're kind of being a little hesitant. Those little interactions are kind of fun at the end of the game. But a pretty commanding performance there from Make 7 Up Yours over the second place team in Div B West.
Yeah, Make 7 Up Yours definitely making a statement here as they head into the back half of the season. Very well performed. And in that last one, kind of a funny coincidence because, one thing I was going to mention about the Wombo combos was it seemed mainly like just the Ring of Frost wasn't being held long enough to follow it up. But Jaina actually getting caught in the final VP, kind of forcing them to have good synergy with the APOC coming out in the ring to follow it up. Still didn't quite secure the kills, but it secured enough AoE spread damage on the members of Roll1 Esports that there was just no way they were going to be able to recover in that team fight. They just didn't have the tools at that point. They didn't have an option. They still had to go for it because that was the end of the game either way. But that's kind of what I had mentioned before is, where you might look at that situation and try and disengage, that option just was not available because of the status of the game.
Yeah, that was symptomatic of all of the combos that they ran. Was none were spectacular, none were terrible, but all of them were good enough. They put damage out. They either secured maybe a single kill or put enough damage on them to where the fight was effectively over. Roll1 just couldn't continue with it, even if their members weren't necessarily killed.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will definitely point out is I feel like Toffs could have maybe gone with a different ultimate choice here. He did go with Lornado, but I feel like the Stay a While and Listen does a really nice job of disrupting those styles of Wombo combo. So maybe a missed opportunity there for Roll1 Esports, but I won't take anything away from Make 7 Up Yours. They definitely performed well in both these matches and earned themselves a domination tonight.
And speaking of Make 7 Up Yours, joining us for the party right now, the man with the best name on his own team, Funk Panda. How's it going?
Hey, man, how's it going? Going all right.
Well, congratulations, guys. A 2-0 over one of the top teams in the division. How you guys feeling?
I mean, I guess we feel pretty all right. Game went pretty well. We had a good draft. Our opponents played pretty well, too. So, went pretty well.
One of the things we touched on in that game, too, is that you guys really flex on to different roles kind of as needed. Talk about how that works within your team, because that's not something most teams do. I think it's kind of fascinating how you guys make that work. So how does that decision go into who plays what into draft and on what role and how you guys are going to swing that?
I mean, we really only got like a few flex players. I mean, 7 Up Yours, he's a flex player. Tribulation normally plays tanks. And Artanis, Prudentious 69, he is also our other flex. So we got like 2 flexes. Akash kind of plays a couple of roles here and there. I mean, we each have our own specialty, and but it's hard for me to describe. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, we each have the heroes that we play, and they fit in different roles, and depending on how comfortable we are per map, we play what we play.
So how's the first half of the season gone for you guys? How you feel you're fitting in after winning big last season and earning that huge promotion? What are your guys' goals for here in Div B West this season?
That's a good question. I mean, our goal is just, to have fun, hang out with each other, shoot the shit when we're playing. I mean, half the time we're not even talking about the match when we're playing. We're just talking about random things like whoever Art is dating, whoever I'm dating at the time. Half the time we're just talking about random bullshit. So, I mean, that's just our goal is just to have fun.
Jason, I'm going to throw it over to you, bud.
All right, so you guys are in game 1. You guys are doing pretty well, and then suddenly Kael'thas gets caught out a little bit, and you guys end up turning that around and into the final team fight to win the game. My question is, was that Kael'thas there as a bait, or was that a happy accident?
I mean, it was just a happy accident. I mean, I remember specifically what happened. KT got caught out mid, and luckily I had a good Say a while and listen go off at the time. So it bought him the time to live, which made it a pretty decent bait at that time. So yeah, it was just a happy accident.
Also, the VP APOC ring combo, is that something you guys play regularly, or is that just something you guys pulled out of the hat as you guys were in the draft?
That was something that we kind of just, we were feeling like being goofy. So Akash was like, I'm going to play Zeratul. Trib was like, I'm going to play Diablo. And then Suki was like, hey, I'll just pick up this Jaina. Let's make it a party.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you, but congratulations on the win. And I really like the having fun thing. Like, that's really what the game's about. I think, sometimes people take it a little bit too seriously. And I really like to hear that from you guys.
Yeah, we don't practice outside of us doing team league on occasion. We haven't really, since this season started, we haven't played together at all. This is just, we just play when the matches come up. So I mean, it's just whenever craft or whatever else we're doing, we're just chilling. So it's really not just a side project for us.
Well, congratulations, man. Any shout outs on your way out the door?
Not really. Maybe I'll give a shout out to my friend. He streams on Twitch. His name is Spiff himself. You can check his Twitch stream out at twitch.tv/Spiff himself. And that's about it.
All right, man. Well, congratulations again. Thanks for dropping by.
All right. Thanks, man. You have a great day.
You too, man. Well, Jason, that did not go how I was expected. If I would have called it coming in, I would have called a split.
Yep.
But not only 2 wins for Make 7 Up Yours, but pretty commanding ones, especially that game 1. I think for whatever reason, Roll1 was a little off their game that game 1, but they did play much better game 2 and still not quite able to pull it out. Just kind of one of those nights for those guys.
Yeah, sometimes you just have those nights where you don't perform quite up to your potential. You make little mistakes here and there, and those things can't really be helped. You just got to move on to the next match and get ready and scout for the next opponent, and hope you can shake off that loss and perform well in the next one.
Well, thanks for joining me kind of at the last minute. I just messaged you this afternoon. I was like, hey, man, you want to cast? So it's always fun to get you in here. Any shout-outs as we wrap it up, my friend?
No, I just thanks you so much for coming out, and you guys can check me out as I'm just kind of right now. I'm just kind of doing the co-caster thing, but I'm sure eventually I'll fire up the old OBS again and get back to casting over on Jason Hots. You guys can always check me out on Twitch and all that, and Twitter and all that. Jason Hots, YouTube, and thanks again for having me. But we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. I will be back here on my stream, as it so far Regen Blue does not have a caster tomorrow. So if you want to come check out the POV stream for our game, we do play Getting Sweaty. Nope, I lied. That's the wrong Thursday. We play Team Mapitas tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, so I'll be back then. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, hit all the buttons. I'm in all of them. Have a great night, everyone, and thanks again for joining, Jason.
Thank you.